Radha and Krishna pastime, because we are not even understanding Maya Leela, what to speak of Krishna Leela, what to speak of Radha Krishna Leela. It's progressively that much more and much more confidential. But Lord Chaitanya is making it possible by this Sankirtan process and by His mercy. So we do our Sankirtan from our side and beg for Lord Chaitanya's mercy through the Guru Parampara, Srila Prabhupada, the spiritual master. And then there's some hope. Otherwise, you look at the situation, it's mission impossible. From where we are to where you want to go. So this song is devotion of Nishtha. Right now we're struggling with Anishta Bhakti. Come to Nishtha Bhakti at least. Then hope is there from our side. But it is the enormous mercy of Lord Chaitanya. That's why that song is there. Jadi gaur na hoito, tabe ki hoito. Lord Chaitanya hadn't come, what would be our plight? What would be our situation? So at least that fills our heart with gratitude. And gratitude is a nice way to express humility. It's tangible, something we can do. Because when I was told, Trinada Pisuniji, you should become more humble than blade of grass, I still don't understand that, how it will be humble. But when they said be grateful, I can understand that, I can handle that, I can relate to that. We can be grateful for so many things, grateful for association of devotees, grateful for Prabhupada's books, for deities, so many things, paraphernalia, prasadam, association, everything. That is tangible, and that hopefully attract the mercy of Guru Parampara and put us on the path. That's all I can dare to say.
Yeah. Bhakti Saraswati made it very clear. He said, our Siddha Pranali mantra, the mantra to help us realize our eternal identity is Trinada Pisunishana. So that's our Siddha Pranali mantra. And this is what this song basically explains, right? Because Bhakti Saraswati is the son of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, so he has the same mentality. That first is such a sincere chanting of the holy name that you cry tears, right? And second, you become so humble that you serve everyone, that you live in a very simple lifestyle. It says Doryava Dudavesh, that just dressed like a mendicant, and you take food even in the houses of Chandalas in Navadvip, because you see them all as saintly personalities. And third is that you dedicate yourself to the service of the devotees. And so by sincere chanting with tears in the eyes, by humility and serving Vaishnavas, so these three things if we do, then we can achieve perfection, realize our Swarupa automatically. Otherwise, we'll just become really proud that I know my Swarup, you don't. So it becomes like another material kind of identification. Yeah.
So we heard
microphone.
Sorry.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Hare Krishna Maharaj. Sorry. So we heard Vijay Gopti Prabhu saying, and that like Anartha, the stage in which he is going through. Actually, we look up to him, and for at least for me, I can comment that the engine has still not started. I feel so. The hope. How do we get hope? Because we always look up to all devotees like Vijay Gopikesh Prabhu.
Yes, it's hard to match that example.
So when he is, he commented like this, then I don't know whether what hope we have.
Yeah. Sometimes we feel like that, kind of hopeless, that we cannot achieve anything and we're not really good for anything. But so how can we be happy if we think like that, right? Feeling desperate. But the happiness should come from the fact that it's also Krishna's mercy, and Krishna is helping us to develop humility. And if we develop humility, this is really powerful. Then we can chant the holy name constantly. And so, basically, we either advance in Krishna consciousness by doing very impressive services, or we make mistakes and we fail and develop humility with that. So that's why Krishna consciousness is absolute process. You never lose. Neha vikramana shasti. No loss and diminution on this path. If you succeed, you please Guru, Krishna and Vaishnavas. If you fail, you develop humility. Like that. So be happy with whatever results are coming.
With respect to Janardhan Prabhu's question, I was just thinking that when we say, what is our hope? And when we ask the question about hope, are we actually not showing faith on Krishna? When we say that, I hope Krishna gives me this, gives me that, or whether I progress onto the spiritual. But when we say hope, we are actually expecting something from Krishna, and that means we are not having a faith on the process. Is that how we should look at it, or?
No, it has value because, we may not have material desires to achieve anything from Krishna consciousness, but at least we have spiritual desires. We want to become free from our anarthas, and we want to advance, and etc. We want some spiritual achievements. But when these are not happening, then we might feel hopeless. But this is when we can actually develop genuine humility. And it's very interesting that I think Bhaktivinoda Thakur again in one of his songs he calls Krishna Agati Ragati, that you are the hope for those who lost all hope. So it's very interesting. When we lose all hope in our own abilities, we have chance to fully surrender unto Krishna and say, Krishna, I am useless, I am hopeless, so please, save me. So it's full surrender starts there.
Just wanted to add to that, that feeling of helplessness is actually a source of strength, inner strength. You don't feel depressed like you are doing business and you lost all your money. Not that kind of a feeling, where you feel you're broke and you lost everything. Here, actually, the feeling of helplessness is you get a lot of dependence on Krishna increases, and that's very, very much desirable. If you look at Bhaktivinoda Thakur's songs, in Sharanagati, his first songs are all saying, I'm in a fallen pit of Maya, and I'm completely drowning, and like hopeless. Then he shifts from there, and he changes from there when he mentions about the holy name and Lord Chaitanya and all that. And then the later songs talking about, I see my house transformed to Golok Vrindavan. It's a whole transition. It's not that he remains in that condition, but that's a good platform to start off from, because that is a good opportunity to recognize anarthas and rather than be blind to them, accept them. And anartha nivritti anyhow does not end till prema level. We should not think because I have some anarthas left that I'm not progressing. We are anartha nivritti, unlike other Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, anartha nivritti is a nishtha. That means nishtha means all anarthas are gone. No, they're not gone. They're still there. Ruchi, they're still there. Bhava, they're still there. Only at the prima stage they're gone, isn't it, Maharaj? So some anartha trace will be there. Even Bharat Maharaj fell down Bhava stage. So this will be there. That's not for us to feel depressed or hopeless, but rather it is a very nice to take more shelter of the Lord. And that actually gives you more strength. Because otherwise if you have pride, then that faith is an important factor. Yesterday in Auckland, day first in Auckland, we were discussing this pastime of Lord Shiva and Mother Parvati. Is it alright if I describe that? Lord Shiva, Mother Parvati was watching the Kumbh Mela. And every 12 years it comes, right, in Triveni Sangam, Allahabad. People are going, millions of people are going and taking bath. And Mother Parvati told Lord Shiva, does that mean that all these people are going to get liberation? Because it says in the Shastra, you take bath in the Triveni Sangam at that time, on that day, in that place, you'll get moksha. So she asked, does Lord Shiva, does it mean everybody gets liberation? Then Lord Shiva said, it's not that easy. Then she said, what is the criteria? The criteria is, we should have faith in the words of the Shastra. Those who have faith in the words of Shastra only will get liberated. Then she said, can you show me something? Demonstrate this. He said, okay, come with me. So Lord Shiva disguised himself as a leper, beggar, with leprosy. And Mother Parvati comes as his wife. And he tells her, all the people are taking bath in the Sangam, Triveni Sangam, and coming out. Ask them to touch me and because I can't go in the water because I'll contaminate everybody, so I'm not allowed to go. But let them put some water on my head and touch my head. Please ask them. And she went on asking everyone, all the Babas and people that come. They all said, no, we can't touch, he's a leper. One little boy, he came and touched him. And then Lord Shiva said, look, all these people have taken bath. If they had faith that the Shastra says they'll get liberation, why should they be afraid of touching a leper or anybody for that matter? They're going back to God anyway. But none of these people have faith. The little boy had the faith. He didn't mind touching a leper and putting the water on his head and giving the blessing. And he had faith in the Shastra. So it's not enough to have transcendental knowledge, but to have faith in the knowledge is extremely important. And that's what sets apart a Kanishta, Madhyam and Uttam Adhikari, Shraddha Anusari. So there is a whole process in this, And when we are more in a humble mood, contemplative mood, these realizations Krishna gives, Krishna gives this deep realization, which otherwise you would not get if you're riding on the way of success all the time, Taranga Rangini. In that phase, you're not going to get these realizations because you think you're top of the world, I'm doing great. Yeah? So it's totally opposite. It's actually empowering to feel like that. Very empowering. I don't know if I'm making sense.
Like it is, but the point is from the inspiration point of view. So
Yeah, but why is it uninspiring? It is inspiring that I'm realizing my faults and I'm working on them, making progress. It's very nice. Like they said, Bharat Maharaj fall down is not a fall down. It was a success story. It's not a failure story.
because we want to improve on devotional service, and when we see that after like in the starting stages, and we see these devotees, they are there for 25 years, 30 years, and the devotees who are there for 25 years, 30 years, they are still feeling that the anartha stage. So then we think, 30 years, then what's going to happen to us? You know from where I'm coming
Yeah,
from.
bro, but what is 30 years? It's a joke,
No, I understand that
30 million years, yeah, something.
No, Prabhu,
30 years is nothing.
I understand from
The big scale, you see, from when we are completely blind to anarthas, to the point where we recognize them and are dealing with them, is a big step. A big step.
Because from your point of view, I can see that it is your humility, but it's not from my point of view. Like I'm not humble, so I'm talking from a very materialistic point of view. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. But what I'm trying to say is that introspection is necessary in order to make the progress. Unless we do that, how will you make progress? And that in itself is the progress. Because we're realizing the limitations and we're not on a false platform that we don't want to be. And it gives us opportunity to improve, otherwise we will not improve. That's true.
Yeah. Just wanted to say one quick thing about it. For me personally, this pastime in the 8th canto, how Lord Shiva was bewildered by Mohini Murti, and he fell down in front of all his devotees very badly. Can you imagine that he was running after Mohini Murti, and all this,
Wife was there too.
yeah, wife was there, and all these, like his devotees there sitting meditating on Lord Shiva as perfect yogi who can control himself, in any circumstances, and then they see him running in front of their eyes, after lady, and like in front of everyone he fell down. And after all this happened, then what he says is mind-blowing. He said, I'm so proud that I have such a powerful master. like Krishna, who can make even me fall down. So the devotee's happiness is not coming from sense of, personal achievements or personal whatever, but it's happening because devotee thinks, yes, I'm so imperfect, I'm so useless, I'm so fallen, but Krishna is so perfect that he can use as an instrument even such a useless person like myself. How amazing Krishna is. So this is where devotee's happiness is coming from. That I'm connected to Krishna, and Krishna is so amazing. And Krishna is so powerful. So because if we think I, me, mine, then of course this is the way to become completely depressed. But if you think of Krishna, you'll be happy.
Hare Krishna. So I know where you're coming from, because Vijay Gopikesh Prabhu said even after 30 years, Prabhu is struggling with Vachuvegam. So he's saying, how can we experience transformation if that is the case 30 years? I was listening to an interesting lecture by His Grace Gaurang Prabhu, and he gave a very inspiring class to a crowd full of 20-25 years old. At the end of the katha, at the end of the class,
Hold it closer.
at the end of the class, one 25-year-old raised his hand and asked, Prabhu, I can understand, like we are 20-25 years old and our mind fluctuates a lot in terms of sense gratification. You, having been where we are at the moment, and now with 20 years of experience, do you not experience that? So can you tell me in 20 years time, I will not experience this, what I'm experiencing now? And you know what I'm experiencing now because you've been at that age. And he said, mind fluctuates, but mind fluctuates less. And that is the transformation we are trying to achieve. So it is your humility with which you were saying that you're practicing that, but it's not that you should take it as a grain of straw. The mind fluctuates less. And each one of us have experienced transformation over the last 10 years, where the mind fluctuates, but it fluctuates less than what it used to 5 years ago. That's what we are aspiring for. I hope it's relevant.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Actually, it reminds me, in one of the class, you asked us to do some workshop and all these things. This point was raised and you asked us to try to write what you have achieved since you became Krishna consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we did that thing, we did that exercise, and that gave us lot of realization that what we have got, we don't deserve that thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that is going to give us the hope and the inspiration.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Yes. Count your blessings. Yeah, so many blessings are there. So many reasons to be happy. And this is like, we either look at the glass which is half full or half empty, right? And our glass is 90% full. And we still lament that it is 10% empty, why waste your time like this, I haven't achieved something. Look at what you have achieved and be happy with that. All right, we haven't finished the chapter, but I think we ran out of time already.
We've been doing it for a long time.
Oh, you're not aiming at finishing not the chapter, but the section?
We'll do it next time.
Okay, all right. All right, so that's good. The most nectarian part remained. Happiness of devotional service. So So that's for the next time. We'll be exploring this nectar with Vijay Kopikesh Prabhu without me, so you have more chances to get better results. All right.
Swarup Siddhi and Gibara Swarupa Hoy Krishna Nitya Das. They both are Swarup. Is there any difference between that?
What was the first one?
Swarup Siddhi.
Swarup Siddhi and
they
Nitya
want
Krishna
to,
Das.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, Swarup Siddhi technically might refer to liberation in Vaikuntha and Ayodhya, any form of the Lord, but Nitya Krishna Das means specifically in relation to Krishna in his original form. So it's same but can be different. Because someone's Swarup could be in Vaikuntha or Ayodhya or any other place. So, like Lord Chaitanya told Murari Gupta, why are you worshipping Lord Ramachandra? You should be worshipping Krishna. And then he pressed him so hard, and Murari Gupta tried and tried, but he said, no, I cannot. Like, I'm fully focused, I already gave my heart to Lord Ramachandra, I cannot take it. And Lord Chaitanya said, very good, because you're Hanuman. That's why this is your Swarup. And so, yeah. In that sense, there is no difference between Krishna, Ramachandra. So, someone can have Swarup related to another form of Krishna, not original form of Krishna also. All right. So we'll finish. No one wants to finish. Too much nectar in the ocean.
Are there any other questions? Okay. Maharaj, just this morning, one devotee spoke with you about the Bhadra Purnima. So
Yes.
he spoke to me about that as
Sure.
well. So I just wanted to make an announcement, and I'll ask Maharaj to just say a few words on it as well. But this month, on the 25th of September, Bhadra Purnima is coming up, which is being celebrated around ISKCON. But it's an initiative that the temple has undertaken to distribute full sets of Srimad Bhagavatam. So for this festival, the temple is aiming to distribute 54 full sets of Bhagavatam. They've already distributed 21, and they're making hot pursuit for the full 54. So they're on their way. So we'd just like to request everyone, if you don't already have a full set of Bhagavatam at home, please get one. And if you already have one, please consider getting one and giving it as a gift to others. Bhadra Purnima is very significant because in Srimad Bhagavatam it says that if one gifts Srimad Bhagavatam on that day, the 25th of September, then that person will go back to Godhead, guaranteed. So if you'd like, as Prabhu was saying, it seems like the road is very long, the journey is very arduous, but if you'd like an expressway back to Godhead, this is your opportunity. So please get a Bhagavatam for yourself, and if you know others, please give them a Srimad Bhagavatam as well, and make rapid progress back to Godhead.
Yes, very good. My only complaint was why 54, why not 108? We should be aiming at 108. Yeah. Because if you aim at 108, 54 will be done easily. at least. So yes, it's a very good program and highly recommended to do it. Yeah, that you can go to the spiritual world through the back door. All right. Hare Krishna.
Rasayan Sagar Maharaj ki
Sydney Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Vijay Gopika Prabhu ki jai. Gaur Premanande.